Hello everyone, and welcome to the draft analysis for PUDL, our second season playing in the PUDL. I believe it's their second season of Wi-Fi as well. Yeah, second season. We're here as well. I'm very excited. We got to semi-finals last time where we lost to AP. Ideally, we want to try and make at least finals this time. Well, that's going to be a really tall order because we've got more coaches this time, more experienced coaches as well. So yeah, I'm very excited to play all the new faces and all the old faces as well. Maybe get revenge on a few people. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let's get right into the team that we drafted. Once again, it's the same format as we played in last season in PUDL, about mid-tier. Uh, not Ubers, not low tier, just regular. Paldea decks, Wi-Fi. We had 110 points to draft 10 Pokemon exactly, and we with up to 3 Terra Captains with a Terra Cap budget of 15 points with a maximum Terra Caps of 10 points for 1 Terra Captain. So yeah, let's get into what we drafted with our first one. Um, my idea for this draft, as it always is to use things that I find really cool, stuff I've hopefully never used before. Sometimes I do rely on some useful mons, but first of all, I wanted to grab something with speed, just because I know in a lot of my drafts I end up with very slow Pokemon. So I wanted something speedy and something offensive to start off. Very similar to what we had last season, actually, in PUDL. But yeah, our first mon was Quicksilver the Greninja. Naming theme for this season is Slimes from Slime Rocker. Shout out to anyone who's played that game. Love that game. Um, yeah, and Greninja's going to be great. This thing is probably one of the best starters out there for draft, in my opinion. 122 speed immediately, incredible speed there. 122 is outspeeding so many things. We're not in Ubers, so not a lot of things outspeed that 122 speed. It's like 1 point below Meowscarada used to be the fastest starter in all Pokemon, but now it's second best. But yeah, Greninja is very fun. Water Dark is such a great typing. Offensive Water, offensive Dark type, and it doesn't have to be either of those types because it has Protean, so it can change to any type. It has very similar attack and special attack stats. It can be run physically, things like Gunk Shot, Liquidation, U-Turn, Night Slash. I believe it gets Rock Slide. A few other moves like that. Very good on the physical side, while also being really strong on the special side. It has Sludge Wave as well to be poison. Has obviously Surf, Dark Pulse, various other moves that are all really nice to be able to have on this thing. So yeah, this thing can basically just be changing its types, switching around things like U-Turn, setting up spikes or T-spikes. I believe it has both in its roster, which is really nice. Yeah, this thing just does so many things. It's such an exceptional breaker, especially with this third ability, which is Battle Bond. Battle Bond, obviously, no longer transforms it into Ash Greninja, unfortunately, but does give us that +1 speed, attack, and special attacks. That can be run on a physical or special set, and just allows us to get a KO and immediately become such a massive threat, basically getting up like either a physical or a special Dragon Dance free after getting a KO and just being a massive nuisance for an enemy team if they don't have anything that can take hits from this thing at +1. So yeah, I'm very excited to use this thing. I thought it was a very strong start to the draft at 19 points. It wasn't in the top tier of points, but I think it was for what it was worth. I think it's very valuable Pokemon and is a great start to this draft. So let's get into round 2. Obviously, Granger isn't the bulkiest of Pokemon. It has spikes and T-spikes, but isn't a reliable hazard setter. So I wanted something with a bit more bulk, and I also wanted to get my Dragon type early, just because I knew that these early rounds, a lot of the good Dragons were going to go. A lot of the big things like Gouging Fire were already gone by this point in round 1. So I wanted to pick up Garchomp. Surprisingly, never used Garchomp in draft, although it's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. This thing is so fun. Obviously, Stealth Rock and Spikes, so gets that second hazard setter in. Has the rough skin to be able to chip down opponents' offensive physical mons, which is really nice. Obviously, that Dragon Ground typing is really solid. Obviously, only really weak to Ice. Ice and Fairies. So yeah, it is a really nice type to have. It's a great swap into things like electric types, or even water types, or grass types that Greninja struggles with, or bug types that Greninja struggles with. It's really nice as a swap in. That 130 attack, even though it can be run defensively with that 108 HP and 95 defense, it's really can be really, really good offensively with 130 attack, and even that 80 special attack isn't the worst. It gets a decent amount of coverage, stuff like fire moves, Draco, and Earth Power, while also having like things like Earthquake, Rock moves, Dragon Claw. Obviously, it doesn't have DD, which is always the thing about Garchomp, but does have things like Swords Dance for setup. And obviously, once again, it has hazards, which is really, really nice. So this thing is basically just going to be a great physical wall for us, and really, really nicely complements Greninja. Just being able to swap in on things that really want to hit Greninja hard. For example, if you see a lot of things that run like Mark Punch, stuff like that, Garchomp comes in, it could be holding like a Rocky Helmet or a Yachi Berry or something, just be able to chip things down, while also setting up hazards. Can be a bulky set with like Dragon Tail to be able to swap out like offensive sweepers that want to set up in front of it. So yeah, this is a very, very strong mon, and I'm very also 102 speed is very, very good as well. Having that above 100 speed tier is really, really nice on a bulky Pokemon. Just means we don't even have to run much speed to outspeed a lot of bulkier attackers that want to set up in front of us. We can just outspeed and be able to hit them and threaten them with a move. So yeah, this thing is very, very nice, and I thought it paired very, very well with Ninja. That's why we picked it up. It's obviously crystal slimes, very, very nice with those spikiness. So yeah, that's our second one of the draft. Going into round 3, I wanted to complement Garchomp. I felt like we needed a bit more of a special wall, just because Garchomp doesn't take special hits as well. And I also wanted something that could just be able to absorb T-Spikes and also act as our Trek to Dragon, just because Dragon looked very, very strong into our team right now with Garchomp and Greninja neither resist. So yeah, we picked up Tar, the Pheasantipity. This is the second of the 3 like trio that I've used. I doubt I'm ever going to use Monkey Dory. That thing is not great in draft. But yeah, this thing is really, really nice. Toxic Chain Technician, once again, great abilities. Toxic Chain being able to get our U-turns to be able to potentially snag toxic poisons. Technician can boost things like Double Kick or Veno Shock if it's the opponent's unpoisoned. Stuff like that. It's really, really nice on Pheasantipity just because it doesn't have the greatest offensive stats. 91 attack and 70 special attack are both decent. It can be run either way. And 88 HP plus 125 Spadef makes this thing really, really good specially. Obviously, it has Roost, great recovery, which is really, really nice. It has U-turn to pivot around. Has good moves like, Sludge Bomb, Dazzling Gleam. On the physical side, it can run stuff like Double Kick coverage for potentially Steel types I want to swap in. 99 speed, once again, yeah, very, very fast, bulky Pokemon, which I really, really like. On something like this, obviously, can just swap in, absorb T-Spikes, can swap in on Dragons and be immune to their moves. Only really, really gets hard-walled by, like, Dragon types, but it can just U-turn out on, and if they're not a Steel type, not Dragons, by Steel types, and it can just U-turn out on them into something like our Garchomp to be able to threaten it. So, yeah, has really, really nice synergy with Garchomp as a special wall and physical wall, which I really, really liked when looking at it. So, yeah, that's the reason why we picked this thing up. So going into round 4, I wasn't really done with the defense. I wanted to finish up our Dragon Fairy Steel core, so I wanted to grab a Steel type. That was like my guaranteed thing. I also noticed that we had no removal so far, so I wanted something with good removal, and I also wanted something a lot slower, because like right now, our 99 is our slowest Pokemon, going to 122 on Greninja. So we want something that's much slower to be able to, so our speed tiers look actually nice and aren't just all up there at 100. So yeah, I wasn't 100% certain Garchomp as like a solo physical walls. I wanted something with some decent physical defense. So yeah, into round 4 we pick up Fortress, Steel Bug type, great typing. Only one weakness, which is the 4 times weakness to fire, which is really, really nice when you've got something that's super bulky like this. 75 HP, 140 defense. That's what Fortress does. It's such a good physical bulk. Sturdy, always going to take at least 1 hit. Overcoat can be immune to powder moves, like Weather, which there's no weather that can actually chip this thing anymore, but still is immune to them. Has every hazard, has spikes, rocks, and T-spikes. Pheasantipity doesn't have access to T-spikes, so I thought that was really, really nice as well that we do gain access to T-spikes with this thing. So yeah, this thing is really, really nice. Obviously is a rapid spinner as well, has Volt Switch to swap around, can also be offensive, things like Gyro Ball, has EQ for fire types, also rock moves for fire types. So yeah, this thing is really, really nice. It's a really, really solid one. At 7 points as well, it feels like such a steal for something like this. Being able to finish off that Steel Fairy Dragon core with something super good like this, and basically having it's going to be a really, really tough core of defensive Pokemon to break through. Garchomp, Pheasantipity, Fortress, which I really, really like, which is why I picked this thing up. So yeah. that is why we picked up Fortress, Dervish the Fortress. He spins around just like a Dervish slime. Um, so yeah, that is why we picked this thing up. Going into round 5, what did I pick round 5? Yes, we picked up Mandibuzz because more bulk. I didn't realize how much bulk I dropped in a row. So I did think to myself with Mandibuzz here. So we grab our second remover. I think we need a bit more removal. So we grab Defog with Mandibuzz. This thing is really, obviously has the overcoat as well, weak armor as well for offensive sets, but really nice 110 HP, 105 defense plus 95 speed def. Has that 80 speed here, which is I really, really valued. It has obviously U-turn, has access to Toxic, which is also really nice because Serendipity and Mandibuzz Toxic with how bulky a team we're drafting so far is really, really strong here. We also have loads of pivoting, except for Garchomp. Everything on our team has a pivoting move, which is really, really nice. Obviously, Benny and Mandibuzz. We get the flying type, so we can obviously not be as weak to ground, just because our team was not looking the greatest into ground at the moment. We get that bulky dark type, because I didn't really like only having Greninja as a dark type, especially with that thing changing typings around a lot when we were on Protean sets. So I wanted something that was really bulky, and that's why we grabbed Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is really, really nice. It's very deceptively bulky. Obviously, it has Roost as well for recovery. So between Serendipity and Mandibuzz, they can just heal up. And yeah, this thing just be able to come in, just sit there, Toxic, Roost, Defog, U-turn around, has Foul Play to be able to hit things I want to set up in front of it. I think this thing gets Haze. Don't quote me on that. I'm actually going to have to double check right now. I'm pretty sure this thing also gets Haze. But yeah, this thing is just really nice as a pivot. Gives us makes our defensive core look so strong on this team. Does not have access to haste, so that was a lie. But still, even without it, it has Roar, so I believe. So yeah, it can still deal with setup sweepers as well, and just basically force them to. No, Whirlwind, not Raw, sorry. But same thing. So yeah, that's what this thing does. Is it basically just acts as a wall for us, can potentially toxic things, can potentially just defog away hazards if we don't want to bring Fortress into a matchup. So it's basically just like a backup defensive Pokemon. I say backup as if this thing is 11 points and is a really great defensive Pokemon. So yeah, let's get on to the next round where we picked up Bellibolt. More bulk. This is our first Terra Captain. A lot of the I got sniped really hard when it came to Terra Captains this draft. I know I wanted at least a 9-pointer and a 6-pointer. And initially my big one was Hisuian Bravery, but that thing got sniped like round 3, and I was devastated. Like I fell to my knees when that happened because I really wanted to use it. But at the same time, I think it worked out nonetheless. I really wanted our cheaper one because Bellibolt was the second one. I wanted Braviary plus Bellibolt, and I wasn't about to get sniped again, so I was like, I can figure out another 9-point Terra Captain. Let me just grab Bellibolt while I can. This thing is so solid. It's something I'm going to use a long time. Great electric typing, very slow at 45, but also is really great at speed for us just because it's just a little bit faster than Fortress, just closer to Mandibuzz's speed as well. This thing has electric, water, ice. So electric, obviously we needed at least one stab. Typing water is really solid on this. Gives us a pseudo bulky water. Obviously, since Greninja is going to be changed typing a bunch and is not bulky in any way, shape, or form. Also, ice. We'll see when we get through the rest of the draft. We don't actually draft an actual ice type. So the ice was also really nice, and having the Bolt Beam coverage is always great with Terra Blast plus stuff. This also is another pivoting mon. Volt Switch has Toxic as well. So we have triple Toxic with Mandibuzz, Bellibolt, Serendipity, which I thought was very funny, alongside the T-Spikes of Fortress. So a lot of poison is coming out from this team. Has Slack Off obviously for recovery, Volt switching around, has a natural water move in Muddy Water, which I found really valuable, to being able to lower speeds. And yeah, this thing just comes in, is a pretty solid special water, 109 HP, 83 defense, and 103 special attack is nothing to scoff at as well. Electromorphosis is also a very interesting ability, obviously giving us basically a free charge if we get hit. If something wants to like swap around on us, those Volt Switches are going to hurt from Electromorphosis. We also have Static, which allows us to potentially grab powers on things that want to be like pivoting around on us or just like hitting us hard. So yeah, that is the reason we picked up Bellibolt. Rad the Bellibolt, very fun Terra Captain. I'm very excited to see how well it does as a Terra Captain for us. Next up, we had off another. Finally, we have something that isn't a bulky mon. I say as if this thing doesn't have 100 HP, 128 speed def. But this is Quantum the Meloetta. Normal Psychic type. This is the Terra Captain we picked up. I saw someone use it. I think an MMC has been using it very, very well. And I was like, you know what? If I'm not going to get Bravery, I want this thing instead. Solid Psychic type Terra Captain still. Serene Grace is always a great ability, right? Relic's signature move has a 10% chance to sleep. So that's a 20% chance now. It has other things like Psychic, 20% chance to drop, Shadow Ball, 40% chance to drop Speed F. It adds up over time, those drop chances increasing. So this thing can do very, very well. Obviously has U-turn for pivoting, has loads of cool moves, Shadow Ball, Psychic, Hyper Voice, I believe it has Focus Blast as well. We have Terra Normal here, just because I wanted to boost up normal moves. We have Terra Fairy, just because it allows us to resist the dark and bug moves that are going to come in on us. Same thing with Firefly, just because there's another strong offensive typing access. It allows us to hit through things like opposing steel types on one hand, mainly that want to just be able to swap in and wall us. It doesn't allow them to, because we have that fire typing. Also, another thing we don't want to talk about, we do want to talk about, what I mean, don't want to talk about, I want to talk about is Pirouette form. This thing has the option to click Relic Song and go into Pirouette form, and it's special attack, speed F, and attack and defense swap, so it becomes 128 attacker, and it also gets 128 speed, actually, I believe. It doesn't go 128 defense, but that thing is basically faster than most things in the league after it gets a Relic Song up. So this thing we could shock things coming in, they bring in their Assault Vest Defender to be able to deal with us, and we just go Relic Song, potentially put them to sleep, turn into our fighting move form, and then we just go on a Rampage, which is really, really strong as an option, and I'm very excited to see if that can be used much. I think this can get Swords Dance as well, so that even boosts Pirouette form a lot as well. So yeah, that's like the main job of this thing, is to be able to deal damage while also being very, very bulky, and being able to terrestrialize to deal with attackers that want to deal with us, and just allows us to set up and potentially just win games just like that. Also 90 speed, just a little bit faster than Mandibuzz, slower than Pheasantipity, is a really, really nice speed tier for us as well. So yeah, I really, really thought Meloetta would be a strong Terra Cap, and I'm excited to use it this season. Next up, we have Decidueye Tangle. Gives us our third remover, Defog, even though we don't really need it because we have two great removers in Fortress and Manibus. A little bit great. We do get a Grass type, we do get a Ghost, which is really, really nice. 7 points, I thought this thing was very, very nice. 107 attack, 100 special attack. Can be either one, which is really, really nice. 70 speed, also a great speed tier for us, slower than the Mandibuzz. At 80, and higher than the, I believe, Belly Bolt of 45. So yeah, nice speed tier for us. Gives us a defogger. Good setup mon. Can U-turn around. Long reach means that we don't have to deal with rocky helmets and everything. Overgrow as well is really nice. Yeah, this thing has obviously access to Poltergeist now, which I believe is really, really nice. Still has access to signature move Spirit Shackle to trap things. Shadow Sneak for priority. Swords Dance to set up. It has a lot of things going for it, which I really, really enjoy, and I'm excited to use it as a great grass type. A lot of things got sniped, so this was my backup, and I was like, it was kind of like a backup. Was like, I really want to use this, but there's a few grass types I want to use instead. Those got sniped, so we picked up the Decidueye, and I don't think that's much of a loss, because I'm really, really excited to use this thing. Next up, we have Tauros Aqua. I was still not confident with Bellybolt, Terra Water, and Greninja. I wanted a bulky water. And this thing kind of counts. 75 HP, 105 defense, decent physical. 100 speed is also really, really nice. Has Intimidate, so this thing is really, really bulky physically. Has Anger Point to deal with things like Meowscaradas or Frost Breath mons, however often. Most of the time it's just going to be Meowscarada in all honesty. Cudchew is also a fun ability. We had it on Farigiraf, I haven't used it yet. There. So I don't know if I'm ever going to use this, but it could be fun, like a Lychee Berry double attack boost or something like that. Obviously, it gives us our fighting type as well, which we really, really needed on the team. Also, is another great offensive one, 110 attack. Most of our main attackers were more special than physical, so I wanted something with a bit more physical oomph, and this is the thing, Tauros. It can do a lot, obviously with fighting moves, water moves, has the ability to break screens with the signature move, Raging Bull, which is really, really nice. Can just basically come in, act as a pivot. I don't think this thing gets flip turn, but if it does, that'd be great. But yeah, it just does what it does. Can act as our pseudo wall. If we need, like, the opponent's really, really weak to water, this thing can do really well. Has Aqua Jet priority, which is also really nice. Didn't even realize that. Obviously, you can set up bulk up. Has EQ, which is really, really nice. Iron Head, Outrage, rock moves, Trailblaze access, Wave Crash is really, really nice. Wild Charge and Headbutt. So yeah, this thing has really, really nice coverage. and can potentially act as a setup sweeper if we run a Trailblaze bulk up set one week, maybe sub. Could be fun. We'll have to wait and see. That could be an option, especially with something like a Leechy Berry set potentially even. So yeah, this thing could be fun. It's generally regarded as like the, I'd say, second best of the Tauros gang. I think it's a little bit better than Blaze. I think it was better value for us than Blaze overall. Obviously, we didn't have a proper bulky water or no fire type either, so it's kind of a toss up between the two. But I felt like I had another pick which was really, really strong that I wanted to end my draft on that would be better for us than grabbing Blaze Braid. So I grabbed this instead, and I think it could be fun to use. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, and our final pick of the draft, Arcanine Hisui. I was really, really excited to pick this thing up. Obviously, its second Intimidator has three great abilities: Intimidate, Flashfire, Rockhead. Rockhead, this thing has Head Smash, Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Double Edge. The list goes on of recoil moves. This thing is so tough to swap in. Its Head Smashes hit so hard from that 115 attack, especially with things like Choice Bandit, or even could be Clear Amulet to stop Intimidators. This thing hits so hard with those two stab recoil moves, which are super, super strong. Obviously, a little bit slower than regular Arcanine at 90 rather than 95, but I still think that was a really, really nice speed to be at. I don't think it gets away to boost the speed. I don't think it learns Trailblaze, but still, it could just run a choice off the set. We need it to be faster than things. 95 special attack is nothing to scoff at either. Overheats and power gems come from this thing. I think this thing also gets Scorching Sands, which is also really, really nice. Could be a really, really big shock to something. 95 HP, 8 defense isn't the worst as well. Potentially as a physical wall. If we need to run that way, it can be like a Will-O-Wisp set. I believe this thing gets Morning Sun, so it can also be like that bulky healing set. Obviously, has that new signature move, has Psychic Fangs to break screens, has Rock. All the rock moves it needs. Has Wild Charge to hit water types. I want to swap in on it. Flame Charge is there, so it does have a way to boost the speed. CC is an option. Dragon Pulse on the physical side. E-Speed obviously is always excellent. This thing is going to be super, super fun. I think it was a great way to end out the draft. It gives us exactly what we need in the team. Obviously, I'm looking at the team now. We're a little bit weak to ground, I'd say, mainly, but we have options. Decidueye and Mandibuzz. That can deal with it. Overall, this team feels really, really strong. I think it's going to be a really great pivoting team that can just pivot around into our bulky mons. That a lot of them have recovery, which is really, really nice. And just basically chip down our opponents, get up hazards. Obviously, this Arcanine also has another way for us to rock, which is something I didn't speak about. But yeah, this thing, we have set up hazards, be bulky. Don't want to say stall out, but we can with triple toxic mons and T-spikes. But yeah, we just hit around, we can just pivot around, allow our Greninja to do damage, allow our Meloetta, allow our Arcanine, allow our Tauros to just hit hard. Yeah, this team is very, very fun. I'm very, very excited to use it. Hopefully we can go to finals this time, and we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, I'll see you lot all next week for week 1. Bye-bye.